Hello, welcome to day two of the 5 day mastery mapping challenge. And I am going to just wait until a few more people come on. I hope that you are playing along, you've got your workbook in front of you, and that you are enjoying the challenge. I'd love to hear some ideas, experiences, notions of what you experienced yesterday if you are playing along. And if you are digging in, that is exactly what I like to hear. Just wait for a few more people to jump on and we will get into today's challenge. The theme today is energy. And where is your energy going? Welcome, Kyle. Welcome, Sylvia. Good to see you guys. Just wait for a couple more people to jump in. Sundays. Sundays, a day of worship for some, a day of lazing around for others. Agnieszka, welcome. So we will just wait a few more minutes and then we get into what today is all about. This is getting the foundation right for your own mastery mission. Looking at your energy and all that stuff. Welcome, Maria. Good to see you all here. Okay, well, let's jump in. Okay, so I just want to recap on what we covered yesterday. So hopefully you all have your list, and hopefully they are extensive lists of over 50 things that you have identified about yourself. And I'd love to hear some ponderings about what you learned about yourself. If you found it useful, if you thought it was an exercise that you didn't really know why you were doing it, I'd love to hear all of that feedback. So type a little message in there and let me know how it went for you. So that list is basically something that you can add to and you can amend. There may be some qualities that you identified about yourself that you reject, and that's going to be useful for you going forward. As we move forward in this challenge, I'm going to give you some tools and techniques, and you'll be able to think about these things in a new way. So make sure you stay in the challenge for that. So as I mentioned, today's theme is energy. Theme is energy. So where is it that you are using up your energy? Are you using your energy to move you forward? Is it getting leaked in places where you are not sure of? All of that stuff we're going to cover today. So be mindful that when you are thinking about, moving towards whatever it is that you want to achieve in your life, that energy and the key activities that you spend your energy is what enable yourself to get your goals achieved and to achieve that sense of mastery. So unfortunately in this world, a lot of people's talents don't get maximized because they waste their energy and they don't do the key activities that they need to move themselves forward. So, and this happens for lots of reasons. Gary Vee talks about the idea that ideas are 10 a penny, but they ain't shit without execution. So if you're not doing the key activities to execute what it is that you have as your vision for your life, you're probably not going to achieve it. And that's just a reality. I also like to think of the 80-20 rule. The 80-20 rule basically says that 80% of the activities that we do cause 20% of the results that we are looking for to achieve in our life. So what are you spending 80% of your time doing? Are they focused towards the things that are important to you? Those are really important questions to ask for yourself. So for a musician, if they want to get good on the guitar, like I learned how to play the guitar when I was younger, but it was the practice. It was continuously changing chords and building my dexterity in my hand and pressing down hard and hurting my fingers. Basically, it was pain. You have to go through some pain to achieve the results, but over time you get more finesse and more accuracy with what it is. And in coaching, it's the same. So as I was learning to become a coach, I found that I needed to connect with more and more people and do it more often to be able to understand what it was that I was listening to in people. What were the interpretations they were making in their mind that was causing them the problems? And that's what created my ability to get better and better and better and better. I wouldn't say that I've achieved mastery as such, but I'm getting there. And I know where I have to go to achieve that. Doing things like this helps me to achieve mastery. So the more we practice, the better we get. Interesting fact, your brain uses 20% of your energy every single day. So what you're focusing on is potentially leaking energy. All that cognitive action that you take, that's where energy is getting sucked from you. So unfortunately, we have a limited supply of energy, and we need to be looking at where we are spending our energy. If we do physical work, we're going to have to, look after our bodies better. We're going to have to eat more. We're going to have to get the nutrients that our body needs. So what I recommend doing, and you'll see in the workbook that I have an activity there, is doing an audit basically. What score are you at in terms of your cognitive energy, your physical energy, all that sort of stuff? Give yourself a score. I've listed a couple of different headings that I'd like you all to give yourself a score from 1 to 10 on, and be honest with yourself. There's no point in fooling yourself in that regard, because you're only fooling yourself, and there's no point in doing that. So from all those items that I've identified, is there any other areas that you can think where your energy might be leaking out? Just write that down and fill it in. And if you've given yourself, say, a score of a 3 or a 4, it's a good idea to ask yourself the question, what would make this score a 5 or a 6? What would I have to do in the world to get me up to the score of a 5 or a 6? What actions do I need to take? What new behaviors do I need to start doing? Or what routines do I need to try and create in my life that are not there? Because we are habitual creatures of habit, if we fall into some habits that are not really life sustaining, we'll find that we need to make adjustments, and the adjustments require us to be aware of what is going on. So if you're not aware of where you're leaking energy, no better time than to do an audit, because to create new habits, we need to be aware of how we are doing the habit currently and really bring in awareness to this. And that's in my full Mapping Your Mastery program. That's what I help people do through the coaching and through obviously working with people and helping them understand themselves better. And understand that if you recognize an area of your life that you need to change, your tendency will be to fall back into your habitual pattern. So know that changing a habit, you need to commit. Obviously, you need to become aware, but then you need to commit and say, I need to change this, and these are the certain things that I need to do. And know that a part of you will resist that, and it will put barriers in front of you to stop you doing that. But it's up to you to understand that if where you're going is important to you, that you will do all that it takes to get there. And make that commitment to yourself that you will move forward and get there. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you, and you will see in the workbook that I mentioned energy vampires. So I call them energy vampires. You can call them energy leaks, whatever you want. But to achieve mastery, you have to know where the energy vampires and the leaks are coming from in you. And we are going to take a look at a few of these things now. So diet. I'm not giving any dietary advice, but if you're not eating enough fruits and vegetables, I don't really want to give nutritional advice, but if your diet's full of sugars and processed junk foods, you may be losing a lot of your energy by drinking and eating that sort of garbage. I'm not saying don't ever eat these things. I'm saying in moderation, everything. But make sure that you are consuming a decent a decent amount of fruits and vegetables. Obviously, I know there's people doing carnivore diets and all sorts of other diets. Whatever works. What I would recommend is that you experiment, find what works for you, drink lots of water, all those types of things. And if you find yourself habitually eating junk, what is your shopping trip like? You may have habits of going down certain aisles and just out of habit throwing certain items into your trolley or into your basket or whatever it is. And that's the problem. That you have a habit of saying, okay, this is good for me, or this is a treat. That's 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 not the way to go with that. You don't want to be using food as a treat. You want to be using food as something that is life-giving and life-sustaining rather than treating yourself. So experiment and think. Like my partner is a qualified nutritional therapist. My diet used to be terrible, and we changed our diet over the course of, I would say, about 3 years. And now we eat fresh food every single day. Well, the odd time we might get an order for pizza or something, but very rarely. I did have a pizza last night though. Full transparency. But I rarely eat a pizza, or I rarely don't cook my own food. So again, think about the things where's your diet potentially uh, leaking energy for you, because that can be huge. Right, next thing, exercise. Again, exercise and not getting enough exercise. If your body isn't lean and supple enough, you're going to find it hard to do the things that you want to do and have enough energy. Some people are just they don't have enough energy because their body isn't capable of sustaining a certain amount of energy. If that's you, I would really recommend. I know this is a challenging time. We're all stuck indoors, but that isn't an excuse. There's home workouts you can do. My brother-in-law is out there. Check him out, Royal Marine Fitness. He gives lots of circuit training that you can do in the comfort of your own home. You can check him out. There's lots of channels like that that can show you how to do a home workout for yourself. So it's really not an excuse, even with this lockdown and whatnot, that you're not getting any exercise. And there's massive psychological and mood benefits to doing more exercise. So really recommend it. So that's the body. What about some of the behaviors that we engage in with relationships? And another massive one is how you are using your time. Now, tomorrow's theme is time management. So I want to really, I'm not going to go into it so much here, but if you do not have a relationship with a calendar or some sort of planning structure, that's probably a massive energy vampire in your life, because without very specified time, dedication, and delegation, we are not, most likely not, following through on what it is. Now, you might be a real outlier and you might get things done like a ninja without having any sort of set structure, but a calendar or some sort of structure is essential. I cannot make the point great enough that if you do not have some sort of calendar which is giving you a sense of knowing where you're going, having your plan already formulated, you're pissing against the wind, in my opinion. So that's really something to think about. But we're going to cover that in detail tomorrow. So tune in for that. If you procrastinate and you get stuck in some trivial things and you don't get things done, like there is a fix for that. But you need to take personal responsibility for those things, because procrastination is a sign that you haven't chunked down what it is that you're doing into small enough chunks to be able to say, I know exactly what I need to do. The tendency to procrastinate comes from some sort of hiccup in our minds that we don't have clarity in, and it causes us some sort of emotional discomfort. So we have a tendency to run away from it. So that is something to also think about. In terms of your focus and where you prioritize your focus, we should look at the things in our life that we need to focus on, what is important, asking the question about what is important, and doing an audit around where it is our focus is going in our habitual life. Where does our focus get dragged off by? Is it emotional? Is it some sort of shiny, jazz handy, shiny object thing that is going on in their life? Is there people around us that distract our focus? Perhaps if you've children, that's a different story. But if you don't have children and your focus is being pulled left, right, and center, maybe the news is pulling you. Really understanding where your focus is being drawn to. Is it fear related? It's so important to really understand those things. Some other really obvious things around where your energy might be going is sort of things like having an outward appearance, like having the nicest garden in the neighborhood or having a spotless house. A lot of time and energy can get wasted on those things. Now, feel free to disagree with me, but if that's at the detriment to you moving forward and doing your mastery project in life, gotta weigh that up, right? Multitasking. Oh my God, don't get me started on multitasking. Multitasking is one of the most horrific things that people think that they can do. Nobody can do it. I hear all the time, yeah, but women actually can multitask. No! Sorry, ladies, you cannot multitask. Nobody can multitask. Brains do not work by switch tasking. All tasks require our full focus and attention. And if your focus and attention is being divided or shared by something, it won't work. You'll come up with shitty work. And that's just a fact. Switch tasking does not work. So I would recommend that you think about places where you have a tendency to multitask and start eliminating it, because that will not work for your productive capacities moving you forward, achieving mastery in whatever it is. We need full focus and attention on one thing at a time. And that's why it's important to schedule your time to do certain things. Because the reason a lot of us try to multitask is because we haven't given time for, say we're doing emails and we're responding to people. If all of a sudden we get a notification on our phone and that drags us away, we've gone away from the email and we're going to the other thing, which means that the time that we should have taken for the email extends. So I recommend doing tasks like email all together in one thing, doing social media at one specific time as well. And that's how you get things done in a much more efficient way. And you actually save time by doing it as well. Very important to think about. Also think about your hobbies and things that take up the majority of your time for a minimal output. I'm thinking of things like gaming or other things that really have what in the long run are trivial. I'm not saying don't game, but I'm saying don't game for 5 or 6 hours at a time, because what's the output that you're really getting for that you could possibly use that time, grab that time for your own mastery project? Something to think about. Another thing to think about is gossip and talking about nonsense and trivial crap, which are actually none of your business. That is a massive energy waster and time waster. So if you have a tendency to do that, what really is the benefit that you're getting? Something to think about. Another thing to watch out for is fixing things that aren't broken. That could be many things. Lots of people try to fix things that aren't broken. They mess around with things that really are not broken, and it's just a waste of time and energy. Also, busy work and keeping your hands busy and doing things with your hands, that can be a massive energy drain for people. Worry is also an energy vampire. Worrying about things that are very far outside of our control. Really, no real benefit in doing those things. There is lots of other things that I've written in the workbook that I recommend that you read. There's about 5 or 6 pages dedicated to day two in terms of that. That's the second part of the exercise. So I would recommend that when this is finished, having a read over that. But I want to talk to you about other things that you should focus on regarding energy and where it may be leaking. And it's related to the bigger picture. And it's related to passion and purpose. A lot of people never, unfortunately, find something to be passionate and purposeful about their life. And by focusing on your passion and your purpose, it actually increases your level of energy. So if you're in a job that is boring, and I did this for 15 years, so I know full well about working in a job where you're looking at the clock ticking down and you're just like, oh, I wish I was doing something that I was passionate about. That is an energy vampire, and that is draining your energy. And perhaps it's time to think about a career change. It's time to really look at what it is that you are passionate about and really giving yourself something to chew on related to your passion. And your passion might be something incredibly niche, but that doesn't matter. That really, really doesn't matter. If you're passionate about something that is really niche, all the better. You should be pouring yourself into certain passion projects. I'm not saying quit your job and go collect stamps if that's your passion, but I'm saying start to grab some of the wasted time in your life and really focus on what specifically is your passion project and start to create community. Like, I don't know when I started this group, it was about 3 years ago, but it's become something that I'm quite proud of now. And I'm incredibly passionate about serving people in this way, which means that, it takes a little bit of time to build something, but you can do that. You really can do that. If you use your time in a considered way and a focused way with a goal in sight, you can achieve so much. So think about what it is that you really are passionate about and just start doing it. Build it and they will come, as they say. Maybe you want to train for a marathon. Maybe you want to start volunteering. Let me tell you, I have volunteered for some groups in the past couple of years, and that's been some of the best decisions that I've ever made. I've made incredible friends through Students for Liberty. Many of you guys are involved in Students for Liberty. Maybe there's some sort of political cause you're interested in. There's always something that you can pour yourself into and give yourself a passionate life and a purposeful life, because there's lots of jobs to be done in this world and are people are slow to do those things. But if you're passionate about something, some social change, something, there's groups out there. You can join them. SFL is a fantastic organization. If you're not familiar with SFL, Students for Liberty basically aims to educate, develop, and empower the next leaders of liberty in the world. And I poured my heart and soul into this organization for the last 3 or 4 years, and I'm really proud of the work that I've done, but also the work that I've seen people that I've impacted do, which is, it's really amazing. It's amazing what you can do with some considered attention and focus. So I'd really recommend thinking about what it is that you're passionate about, finding groups and communities around you that are doing some similar things, and pour yourself in. Just go for it. Doing something new really can be the source of energy that you're looking for. If your energy is low, or if you feel like you're wasting your time, try some new venture on the side. Keep your job, keep the income coming in, but pour your time into doing something else and see if you can create a secondary income from doing some of those projects. In terms of more purpose, getting a sense, like I know a lot of you have joined because you're looking for something more purposeful in your life. And what I would really encourage you to ask yourself is to think about what it is that drives you in life. What drives you forward? What are the activities and causes that really make you sit up and listen to what is going on? Like what comes on the news that really gives your gets your attention? And like what would you like to accomplish? What is the bigger vision? If you really sit down with yourself and think about the bigger vision for the end of your life, I like to do the exercise where you think of yourself on your deathbed and work backwards. What have you done? What have you accomplished? What do you want for your family? What sort of health do you want? What is the lifestyle you want to live? Where do you want to live? What sort of house do you want to live? What do you want to own? What's the journey that you're going on spiritually, psychologically? What, what's it like if you don't have a purpose now, what might it have been earlier in your life? Go back further. Maybe you've got lost a sense of where it is that you're going. Before this world got a little bit too hectic for you, maybe it's time to think about some old ideas that you've left behind that you used to be passionate about. Why did that passion burn out? Maybe ask yourself. So that's really what I would encourage you to do. In my full coaching program, I help people write out personal mission statements. A personal mission statement helps people to sort of move forward and to really love the mission and to sort of be proud. Okay, this is the journey I'm going on, and this is where I'm heading. My own mission statement is that I want to help young people see their true potential, raise them up to believe in themselves, and help them acquire the belief in themselves so that they can become unstoppable forces in the world by showing them how to fall in love with their own purpose in life. And, we have to really think about not having a destination is probably the reason that most people feel tired, lack energy, and are overwhelmed. And that's why we all need a purpose. So that's really all I have for you guys today. I would love to hear any ideas, anything that is coming up. Okay, I see lots of comments. Okay, Kyle says, my energy is going to Facebook arguments with you. Help me be better. Well, Kyle, you may have noticed that I am not being the polar side of that, because I think arguments on Facebook are the biggest waste of time. And that is the truth. Agnieszka says, today's challenge is where I'm a mess. Well, I hope this and you taking some time to really think about these ideas is going to help you overcome that challenge, because this is really where it's at in terms of moving forward. It's all about focusing on where it is that your energy is going and where you would like to claim that, and getting a sense of that bigger vision that you have for yourself. So yesterday I thought I knew most things about myself, and I did, but I learned my cheerful side is important and was too hurt before. Okay, cool. Good realization. And I want to connect to this side more because I'm joyful inside and it matters long term. I love that. I really, really love that. That is so cool. Hey, Christoph, Angelina, Anastasia, Will, how are you? Good to see you all. Pizza is still pretty good compared to many other junk foods. It's not the greatest. It's kind of crappy carbs. Depends what toppings you get. I don't feel bad. Like there's a cheat day every week. So I do not feel bad. But thanks for considering considering that. Yes, the multitasking thing. Awful. Yes, 15 years, Kyle. I spent 15 years in the post office. Do you know what? It was character building. It was character building. It was painful, but like towards the end, I used most of my time to just literally put my earphones in, and I was listening to audiobooks, I was listening to podcasts, I was studying at the time. So what I used to do is I used to read my textbooks, and I recorded myself speaking my textbooks, and I'd go into work and I'd listen to myself speaking my textbooks. So I internalized a lot of the psychology that I was studying. But God, was it so boring. A little story about my role. Basically, I used to have to man a machine. So I'd be at a machine, and you'd stack letters up onto a machine, and the machine used to just go it'd eat all the letters, and it would send them. Like, it's pretty interesting technical thing, and it would sort them. It would take a picture of them and sort them into a box, and then we'd have to fill a box, put the box in a cage, and then wheel that cage out onto a platform to go onto a truck. Rinse and repeat for 12 hours sometimes. That was not fun. Will says, I just try to be the best person I can be. I guess that's part of my life purpose. Absolutely. Absolutely. But only you can say what the best person can be. So there's qualities and there are values that you need to live that you know and you decide are the best person. So that's not a given. You're still deciding what it is, the best person, what meaning you attach to that. And that's the beauty of all this. And that's why it's important to really think about what are my values? What am I moving towards? What do I feel are my best gifts that I can really enhance and bring to the world in the best way possible? Is it possible to overdo it with the calendar? Um, I'd really like to know what you mean by overdo it. I don't think that you can overdo it. In terms of leaving certain spaces free where you're just doing whatever you want, I would say to build that into your calendar. So if you've got 3 hours that you want to just leave free for whatever you want to do, go for it. But I would put that into your calendar. Does that make sense? Then again, I do have a growth mindset. Awesome. Growth mindset for the win over fixed mindset. That's Carol Dweck's work. She talks about fixed versus growth mindset. I'd recommend reading that book or Googling. You can do a Google and you can see the nuances between the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. What about the balance between planning and spontaneity? To be honest, spontaneity is, I have found, an excuse people make about living more intentionally and planning. Sure, be spontaneous. Be spontaneous. That's what I mean. Take a whole Saturday where you build into your calendar spontaneity. I'm going to do something spontaneous today. But put it into your calendar and say, today is for my spontaneity project. That's what I mean. It's like, don't have areas of your life where you just like throw your plan away or have no plan, because having no plan is the biggest disaster for us. Okay, I'm gonna leave it there. I will get to these questions more um, in more detail in the chat. I just didn't want to go over. I didn't want to grow a beard on this. We're up to 33 minutes. So if you're on the replay, I would love to hear some of your comments and questions. How are you getting on with this challenge? I hope that you're enjoying it. If you have any comments to make at all, I would love to hear all of your feedback. Otherwise, get to it, and I will talk to you all tomorrow, where the theme is time management and what you're using your time on. So have a fantastic Sunday, and we will talk to each other tomorrow. Bye-bye.